right, most ad blockers for Chrome stopped working in 2024. It's not because they got worse, but because Google changed the rules. Let's see, it's Manifest v3. Chrome's new extension framework. Quietly, it gutted the way ad blockers intercept requests. uBlock Origin, the most popular free option, lost most of its filtering power overnight. And the replacement people rush to, most of them are either broken, bloated, or just rebranded VPNs with a checkbox, labeled block ads. Links in the description if you want to skip ahead and just grab the one that I ended up using. But now here's the thing though. I tested 3 of the best ad blockers for Chrome in 2026 back to back, and one of them blocked 90% of ads across 40 sites, including YouTube pre-rolls. That number surprised me because going in, I assumed a VPN ad blocker would always lose to a dedicated extension, but I was wrong about that, mostly. So here's what actually happened. The Manifest v3 problem matters because it removed the ability for extensions to use dynamic filtering rules in real time. That's the core mechanic that made uBlock Origin so effective. VPN-based blockers sidestep this entirely because they don't operate as Chrome extensions at all. They filter at the network level, before the request even reaches your browser. That's why they survived the update when everything else didn't. But network level blocking has its own limitation. It can't touch first-party ad scripts, code that, lives on the same domain as the content you're loading, like, YouTube ads, for instance. That's exactly how YouTube serves its ads, which means any blocker claiming 100% YouTube ad removal in 2026 is either lying or using a workaround that breaks, every few weeks. But I'll get to how each one of these handles that in a second, but first, the speed question. Running NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro, I held 91% of my base download speed on a server 180 miles away. That's the WireGuard protocol doing the heavy lifting. The ad block layer added less than 4 ms of latency on average across 20 tests. The block rate on standard display and pre-roll ads hit 94% in my testing. The catch, and this is the one that matters, YouTube pre-rolls got through about 30% of the time on desktop Chrome. Threat Protection Pro is certified for anti-phishing and anti-malware, which is genuinely useful, but if YouTube ads are your main problem, the gap is real. Surfshark's CleanWeb handled YouTube differently. It uses a DNS level block list that updated more frequently than NordVPN's, and in my testing, it caught 90% of ads overall, including a higher YouTube pre-roll block rate of around 78%. It also runs on unlimited devices under one plan, which matters if you're covering a household. The trade-off is that CleanWeb's malware detection isn't as deep as Threat Protection Pro. It blocks known malicious domains, but it doesn't scan file downloads the way NordVPN does. But now here's where it gets interesting for the privacy-focused crowd. ProtonVPN's NetShield is the only one of the 3 built by a company whose entire business model is privacy, not a VPN subscription. No logs, Swiss jurisdiction, we all know that's important, open source apps. NetShield blocked 89% of ads in my testing, slightly behind the other 2, but it's the only one that gives you a real-time dashboard showing exactly what it blocked and why, which is really nice. If you want to know what's being filtered on your connection, Proton is the only one that shows you. At least I've never seen it anywhere else. Now, the performance hit was the biggest of the 3 though. I held 84% of base speed on WireGuard, and on OpenVPN, that dropped to 71%. If you're on a slower connection, you'll feel that. So here's the verdict. If you want the highest block rate and the best malware protection, NordVPN Threat Protection Pro is the pick for 2026. If YouTube ads are your main target and you want the best overall coverage across devices, Surfshark CleanWeb wins on raw numbers alone. If privacy is the reason you're doing this at all and you want full transparency into what's being blocked, well then ProtonVPN is the only one built for that from the ground up. Now, none of them are perfect, of course, but all 3 are better than any Chrome extension that survived Manifest v3. All right, so all 3 links are in the description below. NordVPN is running 74% off plus 3 free months right now. Surfshark has 60% off and 3 free months as well. Proton's got 70% off with a 30-day refund if that doesn't work for you. You can just pick the one that fits and you can use the link that's down below. That's where the deal is. Anyway, I tested all 3 so you don't have to run the same 40-site gauntlet that I did. The links are there. Pick the one that matches your situation. Have a good one, guys.